How's it going? I wanted to talk about my reasons for protesting the use of masks right now. Well, I have a little bit of training in the use of them. More importantly, my wife has a lot. She's a dental hygienist and is one of the few medical professions that actually has to wear them throughout the day. And what we were taught, and what makes the most sense to me, is that prolonged use of a surgical mask, in fact, can cause, as moisture builds up on the mask, and as virus and bacteria particles build up on that moisture, as you breathe, it can cause those bacteria and virus to become airborne, because only particles that get through, or water droplets that get through the mask, are in about the size of 600 nanometers. So even though they act as a filter, which is true, there was a study that my brother sent me, and it was true that it filtered. Even though they act as a filter, there is not much 100% known in those kinds of experiments in regards to how much of the filtered particles that do get through are in fact airborne. And I believe that they are, because that was the understanding that was taught, 20 years ago. So now all of a sudden they're changing that. And there's no logical basis on changing that. It's only from a point of authority. I'm a doctor, so you need to listen to me. But there's plenty of doctors who corroborate my story. So I literally have friends of mine that are slamming me for not doing it. And it's like, well, am I supposed to listen to this doctor or that doctor, or this position of authority or that one? Should I listen to the WHO, which is owned by Bill Gates? Should I listen to Dr. Fauci, who hasn't seen a patient in 26 years? Or should I listen to one doctor or another doctor, that says one thing or another? I'm going to stick with the logic until you can give me a logical faculty as to why. And the reason why is because if I believe I'm making you sicker for wearing the mask, the compassionate thing for me to do is to protest the use of the mask. I've been accused of being non-compassionate because I'm worried about my own health, because there's another angle of this, is because when you're wearing a mask, you're reducing oxygen into your body, and it releases cortisol, which is a stress hormone that stunts your immune system. And I'm being told that that's selfish, even though sometimes, whatever, because the fact of the matter is you aren't taking care of my family, I am. So it's important that I look out for my health first, and then be compassionate to people after that. The mask on the plane, put the mask on you before you take care of someone else, because if you pass out before you can put the mask on someone else, you're not able to put the mask on them. So it's the same idea. So for those who think that I'm being discompassionate by doing this, I really, truly, when I did wilderness first aid, it was explained to us that actually can can actually accelerate the aerosol as you breathe out through a screen of 600 nanometers. So I've explained this in videos before, but apparently it was, I don't know, people didn't understand or agree with me, and apparently they don't agree with me. I'm literally losing friends because of this. And then I'm being accused of being not discompassionate. So if you disagree with me, that's fine, but don't, if you can't come up with a logical faculty, not just someone from authority, if you can't come up with a logical faculty as to why someone's wrong, then you really should just agree to disagree or something, because you're not getting anywhere if you can't explain to me why I'm wrong. Some people have come close. Like I said, my brother shared me an experiment done on homemade masks in regards to the flu, and it did show that they act as a filter. But my question isn't so much the filter. My problem is that I was taught that even though it does filter, it more of those particles are in fact airborne, as opposed to sneezing. And yes, okay, you sneeze into your arm and then you're going to wipe that off or something. Or you sneeze into the air, and yes, if anybody's in the direct path of that, it's going to be a problem. But if they're not, which is most of the case, it's going to settle to the ground. It's going to settle to the ground, and it's going to get wiped up. Or it's going to settle onto a piece of furniture. It's going to get wiped up. It needs to land in an orifice to be a problem, or inhaled, or something. And I'm not saying that it can't happen, because it obviously can, and it's likely. One problem I'm having, a huge problem I'm having with all this, is we've spent 13,000 years as this rendition of Homo sapien right here, what we are right now. 13,000 years is the current evolutionary understanding of our species. And in order to, that whole time, we have developed an immune system that relies on bacterial and viral interactions. So here we are stunting immune systems, making us more susceptible to all sorts of other bad things. Okay, we're more susceptible to prion diseases right now. Something that if CWD jumps to humans, we're fucked. Okay, we're literally more susceptible to that because our immune systems are not reacting to things, because we're putting hand sanitizer on everything, and we're so we need to come into contact with these bacteria in order for our body to be ready. That's what it does. That's the design. We are not insects that actually try to sterilize everything in their bodies. Okay? An ant does that. Bees do that. We're not that. Okay? There are more bacterial cells in our body than human cells. We need the bacteria in order to digest our food. So, but even without that, okay, look at the base mass thing, base value. I'm not convinced that. Not only am I not convinced that it isn't helping. Okay, if it wasn't helping, but it wasn't doing anything wrong, I'd wear the mask, shut everyone up. I wouldn't care. It would send a message that I'm willing to try not to get you sick. That's a profound message. I get it, but I actually believe, due to my education and my wife's education and education of many nurses and doctors who were taught a long time ago, back when they still taught that, we learned from the Spanish flu that the second outbreak was a result of having bad immune systems because of the fact that everybody quarantined for the first wave. Now we're being taught that we got to worry about it because of the fact that the second one was because everybody stopped doing it, right? So, I mean, the education has been different. It's been changed in the last 20 years. So people who were taught these things before that are taught a different thing now. Meanwhile, we haven't had an outbreak like the Spanish flu for 100 years, probably for a reason. Anyways, like I said, come up to me with a logical faculty as to why I'm wrong about this, and I'll change it. And it needs to make sense logically. Don't come up to me and say, hey, CDC says this, WHO says this, my doctor says this. Well, I have a doctor that says something else. I got plenty of authority that's telling me otherwise. So I need to know why I'm wrong. Sorry, guys, but that's out of compassion, because I'm not willing to walk around and get other people sick because I have to comply with rules.